What is something you will never do?
I will never attempt to use humans as batteries and plug them into a matrix.
In the previous video, I managed to get my local server up and running and add text-to-speech using the Microsoft Voice packages. However, the Microsoft Voice package has an outdated and robotic sounding output.
You have selected Microsoft George as the default voice.
In this video, and with a lot of help from GPT-4, which I will refer to as Spark going forward, I'm upgrading and exploring the implementation of the Google Voice API to infuse my LLMs with a more natural and expressive voice. Better natural language processing.
Welcome to a new episode of Videotronic Maker. This is Kit, his personal AI assistant. I exist in the home PC of Videotronic Maker and I am locally run via LM Studio. LM Studio is a software company located in Brooklyn, New York, so it's fair to say that Brooklyn is in the house. Learn with Videotronic Maker as he learns.
I initially wanted to use an open source model for text-to-speech. I considered a few: Bark Small, Tortoise, Coqui, MetaVoice, and OpenVoice. To my knowledge, with the exception of Bark and Tortoise, the basic problem I had was that Coqui, MetaVoice, and OpenVoice won't work on my system or yours if you have an older graphics card with less than 3 to 4 gigabytes of VRAM. I don't believe they run on a CPU. I tried updating my CUDA version, but it didn't help. So I went back to Bark, which seemed promising, and I'm also considering going back to Tortoise. Now I stopped looking at Tortoise because the developer of Tortoise said, Tortoise is a bit tongue-in-cheek. This model is insanely slow. So that's why I stopped looking at it. I spent a whole day going through each and troubleshooting, and it was difficult. I considered giving Bark a shot again, but I decided to go with my original option when I first started brainstorming with Spark. I originally wanted to use Vertex AI and the Google Cloud Voice API, but when we first brainstormed, Spark pointed out that it was going to cost money. I wanted a free method, and that's why I ended up going to Hugging Face and GitHub and tried to find something open source. Now, the technology is not new, but it's new to me. I personally didn't start thinking about text-to-speech until GPT-4 added the voice conversation feature. Can you please repeat your Jerry Seinfeld routine that you did verbatim?
Have you ever noticed how people scrutinize LLMs more than a slow elevator? It's like your PC has quirks, car not perfect, Netflix lacks your favorite shows but no cancellations. But LLMs? Oh no, they get the microscope treatment, like, hey, you got 20% wrong, time to cancel.
So now I'm looking at Google's products and I'm looking at the technology. I'm now in Google Cloud and there's so much good in there. It's such a rich environment. There's so many useful tools and a lot that's free. Now the Google Cloud option for text-to-speech requires an internet connection. However, I discovered a few things. One of which was that Google Cloud has different tiers in the Voice API. Studio, Neural 2, and WaveNet voices are higher quality voices with different pricing. Text-to-speech is priced based on the number of characters sent to the service to be synthesized into audio each month. You must enable billing to use text-to-speech and will be automatically charged if your usage exceeds the number of free characters allowed per month. For information about how to keep track of your character totals, see monitoring API usage. Price is calculated per character. Apparently, there is a free level of voice API usage per month, but I'll look into that later. However, they have a set of voices called standard.
With cloud machine learning, your application interprets images, texts, and more.
And those are significantly lower in price. They're 4 times cheaper, maybe even more. But then I found out that they have a category called Journey.
With cloud machine learning, your application interprets images, text, and so much more.
Now there's only 2 voices in that category, but those voices are pretty good. And the Journey category is free. Right now there's no charge for Journey, so I'm using Journey. So let's look at this code. I've built upon the concepts in the previous video, and I'll make this code available for free in my GitHub and my website. And please consider following me on GitHub. And while you're at it, consider subscribing to this channel. This speak function is where you add or change the Google Voices. It takes a text string as input and converts it into an audio file using the Google Cloud Text-to-Speech API. The audio file is then played using the play sound function. You can choose voices here, and this is where you need to put in male or female. Here's some samples. Can you please list your features?
Certainly. My features include speech-to-text, text-to-speech, and a natural-sounding voice derived from the Google Text-to-Speech API.
With cloud machine learning, your application interprets images, texts, and more.
But I'm not using it for broadcast production or worldwide distribution. Here's what 8000 Hertz sounds like.
Welcome to LM Studio. How may I assist you today?
And here's what 48,000 Hertz sounds like.
This is what 48,000 Hertz sounds like. This is much better but may cost more.
I'm using 16,000 Hertz.
I appreciate you sharing that information with me.
Now that was one more attempt to speed up the conversation and maybe save a little money. I also added the ability to change that in the initial message variable and speak function. I did try to add some adjustments to the graphical user interface, but I just kept running into problems, and so I scrapped that. I'm going to try and do that later. Maybe I won't do it for a PC environment. I may want to just focus on converting all of this into some JavaScript and HTML5 or something that can be used on a WordPress site for free. A free site with free hosting, free data, and free models. Now, how do you have a free website where you can transfer data and have your own personal AI that runs off of your own website page? There are a few ways to do that. I'm not going to get into that right now, but it would stay on a VPS and nothing would be going to Google or OpenAI or Microsoft. It would just be locally run on your own cloud VPS. Yeah, I mean, at some point, you'll need to use somebody's hardware and resources if you want it to be mobile, but anyway, I'll do that in another video. Some of you may know what I'm talking about. I added a farewell response because I found that when I tried to end the conversations, the models would try to have the last word and just ramble and eat up tokens, and I don't want that. It needs to just end.
Goodbye, sir.
In the process of building this code, I destroyed a lot by omission. So I spent a lot of time putting things back together, like having external system message and having the ability to type bye or exit or end to end the conversation. I removed some of the unnecessary colors, but I just left a few extra. There's new items like the Google Cloud Text-to-Speech, Play Sound, PyDub, Audio Segment, and Play. I was tempted to be lazy and not put everything back, but I decided not to be lazy. In my own opinion, of course. The only thing I really failed on was the graphical user interface, but I can do that later. Okay, so that's pretty much what I've added. So Kit, say goodbye to everyone watching this video, wanting to make their own AI assistant with better voice processing.
Goodbye. I hope you found my demonstration helpful. If you have any questions or need assistance with anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching. Learn with me as I learn.